their journey of conceiving such extraordinary products. So the session that we will be doing right now will be structured into two parts. So the first one being the discussion, and then a 15-minute Q&A with our audience. So today we have an incredible, diverse panel with three amazing women operating in completely different parts of the industry. So I'd like to invite you guys to now speak a bit about your background, the industry you operate in, and a fun fact that you'd like the audience to know about. So Sabrina, maybe we can start with you.
Hi, so my name is Sabrina Tam, and I'm the owner of Refreshy Cosmetics. So clearly I'm in the beauty industry. I started my business in 2021 during the pandemic, so it's been now like 2 years. And yeah, so fun fact maybe about me is that I was a Concordia student. I was in the marketing program when I started my business. So yeah.
Hi, I'm Ramzan, the founder of Healtea Protection. We're a clean and sustainable period care line. And our mission is all about making clean and sustainable period products more accessible to everyone. So we mostly sell to companies that want to offer free period care to their employees or school, for instance. And I graduated from GMSB back in, it's been some time, more than 10 years. And yeah, this is my second business. I had a children business with my first baby, and then I started Healtea a year ago. And a fun fact, I'm also a mom of a 2 years old son.
Hi everyone, I'm Leila Kairns, co-founder of the Healtea. So this is what we do. I see a lot of you with a can, so it's my favorite noise in the world now when somebody opens a can, it's like psh. It's wonderful. So we started this company about 6 years ago, right now. We launched our first product in 2018, so it's been around 5 years, but this product's been around for exactly a year. And we sell throughout Canada. We're selling now crossing the border, a bit in France, so it's going really well, but we didn't give up because it went from completely to zero like in 2020, 2021. Because of COVID, of course, we were in restaurants and in gyms. So those businesses kind of closed. So yeah, we just kept going. We rebranded. We took the time to really analyze the data we had, gotten over the years. And yeah, so fun fact, I'm also Concordia. I didn't finish my back, but it's something I have on my bucket list. I did do a coaching certificate. I recommend to all of you if you guys want to do the coaching with James Gavin. It's amazing. That certificate brought me to another dimension in my business. And yeah, I'm a mom of 3 kids too, 14, 13, and 11. So if I can do it, you can do it.
Awesome. Well, nice to meet you all. I'm curious to know, and Roxanne, I'll start with you. What got you into entrepreneurship and what inspired you to start your own company?
So I come from an entrepreneurial family, so I was always in it since I'm a child. I mean, at 5 or 6 years old, my dad was like, "It's time for you to learn about business. So you need to sell something. What about you've got wildflowers, buy some jars of and go around the lake with all the cottage and sell these products. So you will learn how to make money." And I'm like, well, sounds like a great idea. So this was how I started, learning about how to build a business really. And then I graduated from John Molson. I had my first job in tech companies. And then I decided to do a master's degree in Lux. Got recruited by L'Oreal Lux. I worked there for a couple of years. Then I launched my first business. It was Pilgrim, a jewelry line. I sold it in 2020. And now with Healtea, actually since I became a mom, I always knew that I wanted to launch a second business, but I want this business to be purpose-driven. I needed to, solve a problem, and when you're a mom, you stop having your period. And after a while, you start having them back. And for me, it was re-exploring the experience of having my period. And I started to think about, what am I putting inside my body? What are the ingredients going inside my body? And then why am I so, I feel so guilty every month throwing so much plastic out there. There must be a better way to do things. So I decided to launch Healtea because there was 3 big problems with the industry. First, it was very hard to find clean and sustainable period products out there. If you go in pharmacy, there's none. Online was like mostly American brands, so that was one. And the second one was accessibility. If I go in public restrooms, in company restrooms, even at school, how come there's no tampons and pad if I get my period unexpectedly? So accessibility was number two, and number three is all about like branding and experience. Like, we are having our period for 36 years of our life, and there's no company out there that is giving me a nice branding experience, right? And I come from L'Oreal, so it's all about the experience. So with Healtea, I decided to, really create like a packaging that was fun, a branding that was nice, because we deserve that too for period. So that's what led me to Healtea.
Awesome. Sabrina, would you like to share?
So I started out with a first business before Refreshy. It was a sweater business. So I would buy the sweaters already made and we would print my designs on the shirts. But I feel like I was telling the ladies here, I feel like being an entrepreneur is something that you have within you, where it's like a calling. And I always had a great mother as an example that was an entrepreneur. She was working in like the construction field, so she was a really hard worker. And in the construction business, it's not an easy domain for women at the time. This was like 18 years ago, so I saw her struggle but just persevere through it all. So I think I had the best model to like build me up as an entrepreneur today. So yeah, like I started with my first business. It was called The One and Only Shop. So I would draw all my designs by hand and then just print them on the shirts. And it was an online business, so we're selling everything online. But it never became anything really big. It was more like of a hobby, but it was still having a business, which I loved. And I think that was the first project that made me really fall in love with being an entrepreneur. Just doing your own thing, having the freedom. If you have an idea tomorrow morning, you can wake up and just try it and do it. You don't have to report to anybody or listen to an order or have like something to do. Somebody's dictating you something to do. And then after I had that business, I was still in school. I had a full-time job in marketing agency, and I was also a student at Concordia in marketing, like I said before. And it was the pandemic, so I was bored at home like many of us, and I decided to order like this kit to make like lip gloss or lip oil because it was super trendy on TikTok, and I was like, oh, I think I want to make my own thing. And I was a huge makeup lover. I love makeup, and I tried literally every lip product on the market, and I could never find a product that was non-sticky. Any girl knows that lip gloss, the first thing we think about is like, oh my god, it's so nice, but like, it's gonna be like annoying to wear. I can't kiss my boyfriend. He's gonna be like, oh my god, it's so annoying. So I was like, maybe I can create a product that's non-sticky, so super comfortable to wear on the lip, but also tastes good, because that's another problem I realized in the market is that there's a lot of products that would smell really good, but then you would put it on and then it would be kind of like disgusting and gross, like when you would drink or eat. So I was like, okay, that's another problem I can solve. And then third thing, I always had problems with like dry lips. So when I would put like makeups or like lipstick or lip gloss, it would just like dry out my lips even more. So I was like, imagine a product that on top of all of that can hydrate my lips and just keep them like healthy. So then I started cooking in my kitchen this formula that then moved down to my parents' basement. And that's where like Refreshy kind of like was born. I started making the products in my basement. It was like a homemade recipe, and started posting on TikTok. And when I started posting on TikTok, people were actually very interested in the product. It even surprised me to the point that I knew I liked my product and I believed in it, but when you hear somebody else tell you, like, first it was my mom, she was like, oh my god, Sabrina, this is incredible, like you need to like put more effort in this project. And I was like, you're just telling me that because you're my mom, like I don't really believe you that much. And then my friends started telling me, and I was like, oh my god, like maybe this is actually something. And when I posted online, and those first customers were buying from me selling lip gloss in a basement, and they were writing back and telling me like, Sabrina, I've never tried such an amazing product that's so hydrating and just has like this little like lustré glossy effect on my lips. I feel so good. So yeah, then I started growing on TikTok, and today we have a huge community online of customers that order all around Quebec and Canada. And we're also going to be in Unipees all over Quebec soon. So it's amazing, and even to this day, I'm so impressed by the project. It came out of a little idea, a burst in my head. But sometimes the biggest project and the best ideas come from the little problems or the little things we find annoying or we think that we can solve in our day-to-day lives. So yeah.
Super interesting. Congratulations for the. Would you like to share a bit of your story?
Yeah, absolutely. So I keep saying to everybody, this project chose us in a way. We're like a steward of this project. So it came about because I was a stay-at-home mom with my 3 kids, and I was always complaining about what is there to drink on the market that I can drink at night, that won't keep me up all night, that I can give to my kids, that we can drink, as a replacer for soda, as a replacer for kombucha even, as a replacer for alcohol, as a mocktail, and I couldn't find anything. So my business partner, Francesco, he's Italian, he owns restaurants, so he started mixing, and he's like, why don't we use something with herbs? And seriously, a split second, I was like, yes, that's what we're doing, and we're doing this, and we're going there. I had no idea that I had that fiber in me, and it had been always there that I discovered. I started my first company at 9 years old, walking dogs. I made business cards. I had 1 client, but I kept it for a long time. so yeah, it was just part of me, and it just took off. So it was a problem that I had. And then we went, to validate the market. Is it really just my problem, or is it everybody has that problem? I figured out that everybody has that problem and still has that problem. And so he started mixing recipes, and it just turned out so delicious. There's a lot, we're always told there's a lot of competition out there, especially in beverage. But there's nothing that's quite exactly on the X like we do. It's either you have the choice between, products that are good for you that don't taste so good, or products that taste really good but are bad for you. So it's could we have something in the middle, please, that we feel good about? It's a guilt-free, no-brainer kind of thing. So we started developing, and it was simple, but it was complicated. So it's 2 herbs, lemon juice, maple syrup, no preservatives, no aromas, no nothing. But the industry's marketed for synthetic. And there's no production plant that wants to do a product like us ever, anywhere, in Canada, in the US, or whatever. So we had to fight against the industries to hey, no, we don't want to put crap in our product. We want it to stay this simple. If we can make it at home, we can make it in the big industries and scale it, right? So we had to negotiate, we had to find good partners that were willing to sacrifice a bit of the industry standards to put our standards, and we had no idea, right, that we could do it, but we did. We used, we picked the brains of all sorts of people, and we got into a product that tastes great, that's packageable, that's scalable, and that's good for everybody. So yeah, that's how we got started.
Awesome. Well, those are 3 super inspiring and interesting stories. Now, the products are totally different, but I think they all fit in one product category, which is the wellness and personal care industry. But I'm curious to know, are there any initial challenges you faced when starting your own business, or it could even be challenges you're facing now? And if you don't mind talking about them for a bit, so Leila, if you want to start.
So it's a bit like I was saying, the industry wasn't geared for anything as natural as this, and as simple, and so that was our first fight, was finding somebody that could produce us. It was crazy. In the beginning, we found one place that wanted to produce that, wound up closing after a month. So we're okay, we have a product that's launched everywhere, and we can't fulfill new reorders. What do we do? So we had to find, we went to, the Quebec government, the Ontario government, where can we produce this? And that was one of the biggest challenges, to get it to be produced and produced the right way and keep it safe, because there's, all sorts of food safety around everywhere. So that was one of the biggest challenges. But you face challenges every day, at every 5 seconds. We laugh at it at the office. It's oh, another problem. Okay, let's do it. It's you build this resiliency with overcoming all these challenges. It's oh, we've been in worse places, or oh, this is a new big one. All right, so you build that muscle so much that there's no longer the roller coaster. It's no longer, oh my God, I'm gonna die. You don't go there anymore. You just keep it stable. You push through, and everything winds up being okay. You find a way. You find a solution. In the beginning, there was even the first production site. He completely screwed up one of our flavors, right? So we had to open all the bottles. It was bottles at that point, pour it out because food safety and all that stuff. Like it was thousands and thousands of bottles. We had to do it ourselves to prove that we had. There's so many things that you go through, but yeah, you figure it out and you push through. And COVID, like my God, like I said, I was in grocery. I wasn't in grocery at that point. I was in restaurants and gyms and yoga studios, so they all closed down. So okay, what do? That's when I learned about diversify your sales channels. Go into grocery, go institutional, go in hospitals. Like everybody's looking for healthy products right now. There's no events, there's no way to taste your product, but give products away, find a way. There's always a way. If there's the window, the crack, build a hole, I don't know. If the door's not open, you figure it out because you believe in the project so much. And it's aligned with you, right? Like you were saying, something that's aligned, it really helps drive. Like if you have a project that's really aligned with your values, then yeah, that really helps just get the creative juices flowing.
Well, I mean that if you want to be an entrepreneur, you need to be willing to accept that you will have shit thrown at your face every day. And you need to be okay with that. But if you build something that you truly believe will make a difference in people's life, I truly believe that you will get up every morning, get your together and just make it happen and find solutions because you want this to succeed. And the people that love your brand also want you to succeed, so you owe this to them, right? So one of my biggest challenges, well, at first, of course, it was to find someone to produce the tampons and the pads that I visualized. So it needed to be 100% made with organic cotton, which means that normally in conventional products, most pads and tampons are made with cotton that is treated with pesticides and herbicides, sometimes that may contain fragrances and OGMs. So I wanted to find someone that was able to produce only cotton and no synthetic fibers. So synthetic fibers is what you will have in most of conventional products. It's basically wood that is transformed in wood pulp with a bunch of chemicals to make it look like cotton. This is what you're putting inside your body, FYI. And I didn't want that to happen. So finding a good fit in terms of manufacturer that could also give me like good minimum order quantity that was realistic for my cash flow was quite a challenge. That was my first one, and now I'm at the moment where in 3 months of pre-orders, I've sold for more than, I will be in 350 corporate restrooms, and now I need to find a way to scale the business because I'm mostly by myself, and the orders are like still coming in, and I'm like, okay, well now I validated my market, I know the market fit is there, people want that product, now I need to be smart about scaling the business in an efficient way and put my effort at the right place. So the business model of Healtea, we sell online, of course, but where I'm putting most of my focus is companies. So I'm selling to, like, we just closed a bank, so we will be in 170 bank restrooms across the country. And that's a different distribution model, right? Because most of CPG companies are going through like retailers and pharmacies and grocery stores. And I was like, I want to do this differently. I want this to be aligned with my mission to make period products more accessible. So how do I stick to my vision to continue to scale in the corporate world, but also respecting like that my time is limited, my resources is limited, my cash flow is limited. So I need to make sure that when I'm doing something, I'm always like focused on my mission and what I want to achieve.
So if I can kind of follow up on what the two beautiful ladies just said, being an entrepreneur is problems and obstacles and challenges, but it comes with it all. I think on my end, if I can share something, obstacle or a challenge that I face every day, even to this day, that's a little bit maybe different than like ladies. Refreshi, like I said, blew up online. So I post literally every day for my business. It's a huge part of the branding, the marketing, the identity of the brand. I share behind the scenes of my business every day online. So we depend a lot on the social media aspect to connect with our clients and with just people with the brand. And one thing that challenged me is that when you share so much online, like I would share a lot of like behind the scenes and just my journey, and it has its downsides and benefits in the sense that people relate to me a lot more as an entrepreneur, and it just creates a more personal feel to Refreshie into the brand, but it does come with its downsides. So I would often do like lives where I would pack orders and just like talk about the business. So like people would order and then I would pack their order during the live, but on a live broadcast, you can't really filter or control what is being said or the questions that are being thrown at you. So sometimes I would have little haters that would create fake accounts and would come and spam during the live, which we wouldn't think would be like a business problem, but like you're on live on your business account and you deal with like these haters, and it's a live, so it's not just like a comment on a video that you like see and you can kind of like think about what you're gonna do. Do I delete it? Do I answer like professionally? Do I just let it be? You're like on live and these comments are just coming in. So for myself, it helped me kind of grow stronger as a person. I mean, like, to be an entrepreneur, you have to be strong because you go through a lot of things. We self-doubt, the influence of people around us. You know, like we have our people that are there to stand by us and encourage us through it all, but there's more negatives than positives. But that was like a whole other thing, dealing with that online. But I think that it really was hard, but it did help me as a person to just like build that like shell and just become stronger and not let that influence come into my head. But yeah, it's a little bit of a different type of struggle, but it is something that I deal with all the time because my business is very much online. So yeah.
No, I'm sure, like you all said, it's tough to be an entrepreneur. I think it takes the opportunity, the team, the resources, but also the funds. And so my next question is, how did you all raise the funds to start your own idea? And if you have an advice maybe you could give to the students, if they also have maybe an idea they want to pursue someday, how would they go about raising the funds? And whoever can start.
I can start, but so I was lucky enough to sell my first business. So of course, like a lot of my funding for the second business was myself. But also I went to, well, love money is definitely something you should consider. It's like having your fan base and, you know, they believe in you and that they're willing to invest in you. So that is definitely an option to go forward to. The third thing is looking at like Futurepreneur, BDC, like they really have good grants to start like your business that can definitely help you. And there's also like a congé de paiement. So it means that basically you're not paying the loan, just the interest for the first year, so you should definitely look into it. So before like giving out some ownership, think about these options basically. Because at first, your company is worth zero, it's an idea. So if you start giving away some percentage of ownership, it's not necessarily the best strategy to start with. So I would definitely recommend you to start like bootstrapping, love money, loans from like different organizations to start with. And when you have a legit value to your business, then go look for VC money and go look for like other types of like investing partners.
Awesome, Sabrina.
Well, my story is I didn't start with huge funding at all. I'm the type of person that I save up my money and I'm very careful with my spending. So I had, oh my God, I had like invested, I would say like to start, but I started very small. Like I said, I was in my parents' basement. It wasn't like a humongous project that I needed a ton of funding for, but I think I spent like less than $1,000 to start up my business. So it was like a very small little project that grew big. But I think a message that can come through with that is that you don't need, depending on your project of course, you don't need thousands to start, and I think I would emphasize a lot more on starting, not wait on having the money. You can start by doing like, I don't know, like you can start with a little bit and start just like debriefing your idea and like start taking steps towards it instead of just sitting down and not moving because you don't have the money for it. Because one thing that I really do believe in is that if you don't start, and you say, oh, I'm gonna start, and you push it back and you push it back, you're just never gonna do it. So I think it's just better to start, even if you don't maybe fully have the funding. You can always take a step and do something to like advance your idea or whatsoever. So.
Yeah, just get started. I was gonna say that, just get started, because then you figure it out, you find a way. I have a bit of a different experience, I guess, with that, because I came back from being 10, 11 years stay-at-home mom, so I had no money, zero. So I started by starting with a project. I just got started. My business partner, he had a bit of funding that he was able to give. We went to entrepreneurial. We tried to get grants and loans, like especially for developing the recipe and all that stuff. We got a loan through MAPAC. So, you know, first thing is research where you can get the money from grants, ideally. But I was going to say also that I've learned from being around a lot of entrepreneurs and seeing pitches and competition pitches and all that stuff, that the best time to ask for money is when you have a proof of concept and not the business yet. Because it's harder to prove after that, once you have the business, that you do have sale, that you do have profit, that you do have. It's really hard to prove and to get money at that point, because then you have to prove it. You have to really say, hey, yeah, I have $1 million in sales. And, you know, that's what they want to see. So if you are able to have a proof of concept, something that you got started with that works, that has like, look, I have this traction, I have a nice business plan, I have a pitch deck, I have like, you inspire people, that's when it's easier, I would say, to get started with a bit of funding to start your project and bring it up to the next level. And it's not necessarily giving all your shares away and all that stuff. There's ways around it. You can give other things, but yeah, there's definitely a million types of ways to get started, and just find out what works for you. Because some people are not comfortable with getting all sorts of debt on their heads right from the start. Like you can start with BDC if you have a great project. They'll give you $500,000. You know, it's like, but do you want that on your head? Maybe not to start. So, you know, there's figure it out what you're comfortable with, what you want to get started with. You can start with zero, because I did. So it's, you know, again, if I can do it, you can do it, guys. And at this point where we are in rounds. Like I had to learn about this, rounds of investment, and we are looking for another round of investment, and we're in this discussion again. So it's like, okay, do we go through banks, loans? Where do we get the capital from? Do we ask for private investors, VCs, all that stuff? Like we have a lot of people interested. There's even a company that wants to buy us out flat right now, but we're not ready. We're not there yet. That's not our mission. We want to see it through a little bit more. I could do this all my life. Like I don't, you know, but we'll see when the company's mature enough and where we want to get it to, and then we'll see. But you'll have this conversation all the time. And one of the key things is, if you have business partners like me, it's having an alignment with them. Like, where are we going, first of all? Is it our mission in 5 years to sell, in 2 years? Like, do you want to do like a big, let's go and be everywhere and saturate the market? And then you need a lot of funding if you want to do that, be everywhere. But if you want to grow steadily all the time, like just consistently growing small steps, and you're comfortable with that, it's a different strategy. Just align with your business partners. And then from there, go down and say, okay, well, I'm comfortable with getting that much loan. I'm comfortable with giving that much of my equity. I'm comfortable with, sometimes you get an opportunity of a lifetime. A super strategic, amazing company wants to come and be business partners with you. They don't want to own you completely, but they have everything to, propel you 100 steps ahead. It would have taken you 100 steps more to get there. They have the resources, they have the partnerships, they have the business relationships, they have all of that. And yeah, sometimes those opportunities come and you have to decide and say, yeah, okay, let's do it. Or no, we can do it. I believe in our team. So yeah, just align, get started, and it's possible.
Great. I think the key word here is perseverance, être débrouillard, like we say in French, and that could be for raising funds, it could be as a leader, as a founder for your own company. And that leads me to my next question, which is, which skills do you think students should develop if they want to go into entrepreneurship? Or what do you look for as an entrepreneur if you were to hire employees or future people that will graduate students? I'll start with you.
Absolutely. So, there's so many ways that you can, there's so many tools. Like I could go on and on with this for forever. I think you really have to love the journey. You're not in it for the end game necessarily. You have to like where you are now and learning from where you are now and discovering that journey. Growth mindset, definitely. I think if you invest in yourself and learning to untangle all your limiting beliefs, that will pay more, you'll get more of an ROI on your company on investing in yourself than in your actual company sometimes. Because sometimes we'll have a limited belief that keeps us from achieving the next step. It's like, oh, I don't like cold calling. Well, why don't you start doing it? Do it. Cold call. Just try. Go in front of, oh, I'm not good with people. I'm not good in public speaking. Those are all limiting beliefs that don't get you where you want to be. So work on that first, and it'll just open doors. Like, you'll be in the place you even didn't expect to dream of in no time, just by going through those things. So it's really about personal growth, doing it, and okay, where are we stuck? Being open to change, because you're maybe having a complete alignment with one position, but then you're like, oh, okay, well, I see this. There's this opportunity. Should we look into it? Should we? And yeah, don't be afraid to change your mind, because you're changing. Everything's changing all the time. Sometimes you have new information coming in. You were going that way, and new information comes in, and you're like, oh, that changes everything. So be open to it. Don't be stubborn and stuck in your ways. That really helped me so far in scaling the business and seeing really where we're going. But have a goal, have a mission, and align with that for sure. That's one of the key things. But there's so many things that you'll love this journey. I often compare it to being a parent. It's like, I won't sell my baby though, my babies, but it's very comparable, because it's like, your baby needs a diaper change. I'm not going to do it. My business needs a cold call. Well, I'm not going to do it. It needs it. It's a need. I have to do it. Just, do it. You just do it. That's it. So whatever the business needs is greater than what we even need sometimes as business partners. You have to be willing to make those sacrifices, and in time, and like we were talking with kids, it's hard because you're here on the weekend instead of being with them, but it all pays off in the end, and they root for you so much. They love like that. My husband's an entrepreneur as well, so they see us working. They all want to have their own business, and it's just great to have them see us be passionate about our business, and they understand it and they root for us. So you always find a way to make it work. That's always it. Believe in yourself. I think that would be the best thing. Believe in yourself, because somehow you figure it out. I think that's what you can. Yeah.
I think you need to enjoy the ride and love the journey. I love that you said that. Like, enjoy the journey, because we always think about like, oh, if I'm an entrepreneur, maybe I'll have an exit one day. But if you only think that this is your definition of success, like, you're not going to be happy during all those years of struggles. So of highs and low, because basically being an entrepreneur is like, one day you're on a high, like the dopamine in your brain is so high because you just closed the deal, but the day after you might be on your like lowest, because you just realize that your manufacturer is canceling your order, or like something is going wrong. So you need to enjoy the journey. You need to pivot when you need to pivot. You need no ego. Have no ego, because you will be doing jobs that like it's not really like nice to be doing, but you need to do it for the greater good of your company. So, and like, you need to hustle. You need to wear many hats. If you thought you were only good in sales and marketing, well, you need to change that perception of you, and like, you're good in operation now. You're good in like shipping now. You're good in accounting now, because you need to be doing a lot of stuff to be successful. So, and when I'm saying that, it's also with the people you hire. You need to make sure that you hire people that believes in your mission, that believes in you as a leader, and also complementary, that are better than you in doing things. And you need to first train them, like put the time and energy in them if you believe that they are worth it and that they're gonna help you achieve your mission more quickly. So hire based on your values and give them everything you can give them, trust them, and yeah, I think that's kind of my...
I think to add on top of all of that, don't start with the mission to make money. It has to be greater than that. And it sounds so dumb and just like stupid, because like sometimes I say, oh, I'm not doing it for the money, and like people look at me like, are you serious? Like, why are you trying to sell your lip gloss then if you don't want to make money? No, like it's bigger than that. It's in the sense that if you start off the business wanting to make money, you're gonna be discouraged after like a week, because if the mission is to make money, that's like you're building your house on a cracked like une fondation craquée. I'm sorry, it's that. and you're not gonna, tu vas pas durer longtemps, that's it. Like, it's not gonna work. You're not gonna be able to go through all the shit you're thrown in your face. Like, no. And I think if you really believe in your product, it becomes a mission for you, and you become so passionate and obsessed with your idea, your service, your product, you see more than just the money. Like, sometimes I'll say this and people are like, I don't believe you at all. Sometimes I'll see sales come in and I don't even see the amount I'm making. It's more of like, okay, I sold to 100 people, you know? Like 100 people came to my pop-up, wanted to buy my product. They wanted it, like they showed up, 100 people. Like, when you become an entrepreneur, I've learned so many things, and I love that we say, like, what are the things you need to become an entrepreneur? I don't think you need like a specific, oh, you need these qualities to become a successful entrepreneur. I think it's more like you need to have the passion, know your idea, know your drive clearly, and you'll learn along the way. I think that's the most beautiful journey that comes with being an entrepreneur. I've learned so much. And my entrepreneurial journey just completed me as a person. Like, things that I thought I lacked, public speaking or being shy, like, I used to be the type of girl that didn't want to like step forward too much. So like people would be like, okay, we're doing this, and I'd be like, okay. And I wouldn't say anything. But being an entrepreneur, you can't be like that. If you want a deal and you know what you want, you need to step up and keep your ground, because people are gonna step all over you, you know? Like, if you stand by your idea and they're like, well, that sucks, like I found something better elsewhere, and you're like, okay, well, it doesn't stand by your brand properly. You need to stand and be strong. So if there's one thing I learned through being an entrepreneur, it just helped me as a person. I gained so many qualities through my journey and just being a business owner. It's crazy. So I think, yes, I had like perseverance and I was passionate, but I learned so much vice versa, like coming towards me too. Through this, I gained so many qualities being an entrepreneur, just like living it too. So it's great.
That's great. Well, thank you for the amazing advice. Now for my last question, because I know we're running short on time. Looking back on this entire journey, what's the legacy you hope to leave behind for your company and your work in the world? So, Leila, would you like to start?
There's so many things, again, like it's hard to just choose one, but if I could just, for the product, there's the product itself, but if I could just help people feel good about their drinking, whatever they're drinking, it's like, okay, this is good for me, I'm happy about sharing it, I'm proud. Like, I keep joking, I would give this product intravenously to my own kids. That's how much it's amazing and it's healthy and it's good and I believe in it. So it's really clean. So just that part, it's like, it's a no-brainer. I'm happy that this exists now, and I was the steward for it, and it exists and it's there, so go, and enjoy. But as a mission, as for myself, I said it before, but believe in yourself, invest in yourself. That's the number one key thing in anything. I think if you invest in yourself and trust your instincts, trust your gut. So many times, like, I heard things and, oh, but that's how business is supposed to be, that's how you do it. But I was like, it didn't feel right, didn't sit right with me. And you figure it out. There's a way around it, there's a way across it, you really do figure it out. So trust yourself, you really have the answer. And if you don't, you'll figure them out. Everything is figure outable. So that's my personal mission. And then there's also in the background, like, we're really, in Healtea, we believe in people. Like, we invest in people, we love people, we want the best for people. We're invested in like all sorts of things, like Mission Brewery. We go there and we donate our time. It's not just about the product, it's about who we are. And we want beverages and healthy food and beverages to be accessible for everyone. So that's part of our key mission. So if we're able to do that across the world, have people access to a healthy drink that they can drink anytime, anywhere, and feel good about, then we'll be super happy.
Yeah, well, if we can have every menstruator walking in the public restroom and find some tampons and pads accessible and freely for them, I think that this will make me, is part of my mission, is to change the norms. And if there's other companies working towards the same mission as me, and together we can make a change, for me, it's a big difference for all the people menstruating out there. right? So I think that that's definitely one of our mission, to also make women and menstruator having their period in a safe and non-guilty way. If we can change that, this is half the population that will feel better once a month for 36 years of their life. So I think that's definitely a big impact that we can have. And also, we're also donating. We have a 2% donation model. So 2% of our sales goes towards period products donation to organization for women in need that wants access to free period care and don't have the means to actually buy it for themselves. So if we can also have an impact not only on the body, on the planet, on accessibility, but also on the community, I believe that this is the new way of building a business, and this is kind of how I built my business model, to really have an impact and lead with purpose.
Well, for myself, like I think everybody on this panel, we want to leave as a legacy our good product. We all have, like, I'm super proud of the product that I created in my parents' basement. But besides that, I think with Refreshy, like I said, we have a huge presence on social media, and I share all the backgrounds behind my business, and I'm a young woman entrepreneur, and I think one of the things I want to kind of leave behind with Refreshy is to break the kind of standards of like business role model, like break the standard business role model by showing that you can like throw your own twist on it. And I think all of our products actually are kind of like rebel businesses. Like we're not like the standard corporate boring. We're breaking boundaries, and on sort du lot, the French expression. But I think like just all our three businesses are a step towards that. Like when I started my business, I always promised myself I didn't want to be that standard boss or whatsoever. I wanted to change the world. It's a big expression, but try to change in my own way, like impact in the way I kind of like show my product or how I do things or how I market my business, not so that people like, well, I think our new generation too, we're different, but we're built different in the sense that we can't be functioning how we've been doing. You know, things are changing really fast and we have to adapt, but I'm just happy that I can kind of lead my business in that new era of consumers, and that we're super more open and conscious. Like people are not just buying to buy anymore. We want to buy and know the story behind the product. We want to know, what is this product doing for me and what is it doing to the environment? So I'm just happy that we can run our businesses in this new era of consumers, and I feel like our products are really like flourishing in that consumer market of people that are a lot more conscious, and it's really fun to be able to work and attract people's attention and exactly what we want to be with our product.
Great, well, thank you for the answers, the great perspectives. Now's the time to have questions from our audience. I don't know if there are any questions. Yes.
Hi, so can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Even better. So some of you have sold companies in the past yourselves, and some of you have mentioned that you've had to sell equity in your company to finance or continue growing. I was wondering, what are some flags of success that show you, I'm ready to step away from my company, I'm ready to sell and move on with my next venture? And if you've sold equity in your company, I was wondering how you know as an individual that this is how much I'm willing to give up of my baby, of my venture. That's all.
Hard question. Well, I don't know if you're ever ready to sell your business, to be honest with you. I didn't sold my business because I was like, I feel great about like selling it now. I actually sold it because me and my ex-business partner, unfortunately, we weren't able to work together. And this is also a reality, by the way, of entrepreneurship. You need to be careful with who you partner up. And you need to make sure, number one, not only that you have the vision about the brand that is the same, but the same values. This is like the basic of your pyramid. And for me, unfortunately, the values and the vision was not the same. And because of that reason, after building the company for 3 years, I sold my shares. And it was heartbreaking. Yes, I made money, cool, but at the end of the day, this is not what I remember. I remember that it was so hard because I basically had a child that I grew up with the business, and then I had to basically quit it all, which was very hard to do. So advice number one, make sure that you definitely partner up with someone who's aligned with you on the values in the business. And when it's time to sell some equity, I think that, like you said a bit earlier, if it's a strategic move that this person will help you to accelerate the growth of your business in a rapid and sustainable way, I definitely think that it's better to own 50% of a company that is worth like 20, 30, 50 million dollars versus 100% of a company that is worth like 50K. So at some point you just need to make the decision.
I was gonna say exactly that. I'd rather have at some point, if you have a strategic partner that can not only help the company grow, but me grow, because you get new resources. Because as a business, you're always under-resourced in everything. People, time, finance, everything, paperwork, everything, you're under-resourced. So if that person, that new partner can bring in a resource or many resources that are key in your industry, then it's a no-brainer. You're like, you don't mind sharing the pie. And you'd rather have a 2, 3, 4, 5% of a big pie than 100% of half a pie. So it's just a matter of math. And if that person is aligned with you, is it a good business partner? It's not just because they're great. Like, I don't know, if Coke came and wanted to buy me, is it aligned? Do they have values? Who am I going to be working with? What all of that has to be answered. And it's a bit like finding investors. Like, it's great if you have a really good investors that's looking to invest in your company, but are they aligned in value? That's the most important part. Like, I don't care how much money you're going to